Hello, everyone. My name is Jaylin Jones. I'm here with Kirstyn Clark. Thank you so much for donating some of your time today. We're diving into a beautiful topic. This is Black History Month. You discovered a beautiful story at a local HBCU out there in Durham. If you guys don't know, North Carolina Central, based out of Durham. What did you discover?
Yeah, so this actually started for me long before Black History Month. Back in October, there was a celebration held welcoming back to NCCU these historic recordings. And
Okay.
it's like 400 hours of recording. So um, there's lots of HBCUs across our country, but only a certain number of them, about 29 of them, have radio stations.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and
Yes.
Central is one of those.
Yes.
And so they partnered with this group called the HBCU Radio Preservation Project to digitize these radio recordings from the beginning of when their radio station started. This was in like 1995. These recordings have been sitting in boxes, on CDs and tapes, just basically collecting dust and doing nothing.
They're a little bit like us.
Yeah.
Wow, this is great.
Right. And so the HBCU Radio Preservation Project really sets out to preserve these recordings because oral history is important. If you don't save that stuff, it can just, go to waste. And so they connected with NCCU and got a hold of these tapes, CDs, and ended up, again, digitizing 400 hours worth of recordings. And so that went back to WNCU, Central's radio station, and they have those recordings now on a hard drive that they can use at their leisure for whatever they want to use them for. But otherwise, again, those recordings would have been sitting somewhere just going to waste.
Wow. So that is actually a really beautiful story, especially with HBCUs being the cultural center, especially so if we go back in time a little bit, the 90s, the 80s, radio, we didn't have Apple Music. We didn't have Spotify. Radio dictated what we listened to in those cultural centers and those cultural hubs. It was so important. Talk to me. What did you discover? Did you watch any of them?
Yeah, so I had a chance to listen to some of them.
Okay, so listen to some of them.
Right, it's 400 hours, so that's a lot of hours of recording, so definitely not all of them. But myself, Lakeisha Freeman, who is the general manager at WNCU, the radio station, she's been the GM for about 13 years, also an Eagle alum. Very proud of that.
Love that.
So we got to sit together, her as well as another gentleman, Andre Van. He's one of their preservationists at the university. And so we all got to listen to them, and that was actually one of their first times listening as well. So it was nice to have that experience to sit together and listen to that history. But it's a mixture of jazz music. WNCU is a jazz station, gospel music.
Yes.
They had some student-led, some of their programs and broadcasts. There's one called the Legal Eagle. That's what their law school. That comes from their law school. And then they they have another one called Inside. I want to say it's Inside NCCU. I apologize if that's incorrect, but just hearing those different programs, music, again, all of this, some of it going all the way back to 1995 when it first started. So to hear that, to hear students that have since graduated, people who have now gone on to do great things, to hear their voices and to hear the music and the sounds and the history, it's really, really rich and was really inspiring.
Wow, that's so great. That's so great. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of NCCU to the Durham community a little bit. And it's pretty centrally located, tons of HBCU students of all shapes and sizes and colors go there as well. Talk a little bit about the importance of NCCU to the Durham community and what you found out.
Yeah, I mean, NCCU and, again, HBCUs across the country are just important to the Black community because the history, right?
Absolutely.
These universities, colleges were created because Black people couldn't go to other schools. So they had to create their own institutions where they were, welcome and had the opportunity to get a higher education. And so that history is still there. But to see how that has expanded, as you mentioned, you have people from all walks of life going to Central now.
Absolutely.
But they haven't forgotten where it all started and forgotten that history. And that's why this is so important, because these recordings will shed light on that history and for today's generation to see how things were back then. See how, the people that were interviewed in these recordings, the music, the programs, all of that, it just sheds a light on NCCU has come a long way, but again, where did we start? And I think that's why it's so important.
Absolutely, because history matters. History matters especially when you dig into it. Is there any other things that may not make it to the TV package that the audience should know about with the story?
Yeah, the HBCU Radio Preservation Project. What they're doing is really big and really important. And it's not just central that they've done this at. They've done this at universities, HBCUs. Again, 29 HBCUs have radio stations. So their goal was to go to every single one of these radio stations and take the recordings that they also have sitting in boxes, collecting dust, and preserving them and digitizing them. That's something that you don't really hear of. Oral history can be forgotten if you let it be.
Yes.
And so this group is on a mission to let that not happen. And they've actually done, in our area, Shaw University, their radio station, they've
right
also
down the street.
digitized their recordings. So just what they're doing is really important, and it's good to see that these radio stations at these HBCUs are embracing this and saying, hey, you know what, we need to get involved. We need to have our recordings digitized so we can continue to let this oral history speak for itself.
And I love it because their popular opinion and assumption is that radio's dying, and I think radio's evolving. And obviously, many of you guys have your favorite podcasts. That format has started with radio. So this next generation of Eagles that go through NCCU, they're going to adapt and evolve, and that's also going to be a part of history. So I found that beautiful as well. So one last final question / statement. I always want to take a little bit time to talk about how diverse our talent group here is at WRAL. You're going at this, and also you're a part of one of the most famous Black sororities of all time. And I joke with you about it, but talk a little bit about being an AKA, what it means to represent the sisterhood, and hopefully a little bit about what you're bringing into your career as well. Being a reporter, we love having you here at WRAL. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, thank you, Jaylin.
Oh, no problem.
I'm a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the first Black sorority. I'll try to put that out there. Let's not forget that.
Okay.
But no, it's an organization built on scholarship, sisterhood, and service. And through this, I've been able to serve my community, to uplift other women, to put an emphasis on education and the importance of education. And that's really big. And those are qualities that I've been able to bring here to WRAL, right? I firmly believe that as a journalist, our job is to serve our community. We're public servants.
Yes.
What we do is shedding a light on voices that otherwise wouldn't be heard, holding those in power accountable, and it truly is a service. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to do that as a reporter. I'll add that WRAL, this area, Raleigh Triangle, is home for me. I was born and raised in Cary, so to have the opportunity to come back to the communities that raised me and to tell those stories and to talk about how our communities are shaping and evolving, that's so important and so big to me. And I'm honored to have that opportunity.
Well, again, it's a beautiful story all around. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that we're missing?
I don't think so. It's Black History Month. It's the perfect opportunity to shine a light on this stuff. And I just want to add to that, beyond Black History Month, I think we should continue to shine a light on what's happening at NCCU, at HBCUs across the country, and just in our Black communities. Because Black history, this is something that Lakeisha Freeman, who I interviewed, again, the general manager of WNCU, she said that Black history is American history.
It is.
And so it doesn't just affect the Black community, it affects all of us.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important to shine a light on this.
Yeah, I found that out very quickly when I moved into the area. I know my first year working here was digging straight into NCCU, and the amount of people, famous people, Malcolm X, have come to the Durham area and then gone all the way down to Chapel Hill. It's just so much rich history, and we're going to cover it all here at WRAL. Again, Kirstyn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jaylin, for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem.